Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to New Japan Wrestling G1 special event from San Francisco, California, from the Cow Palace Arena. This happened yesterday, July 7th, 2018. What a show. That's all that can be said. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Between New Japan Wrestling and NXT, and here and there, Ring of Honor, WWE can't touch any three of those companies. Well, NXT's part of WWE, but none of those promotions or brands WWE can even touch as a whole. And would I say they have the best talent in the world? Absolutely. Last night proved that. This was by far an unbelievable, and I mean unbelievable show. Even the average matches that really didn't make a big difference, all the tag team matches, were still pretty damn good. At least a 3 out of 5 star plus. I was very impressed with this entire show. Action all over the ring. The last 2 matches of the show with the IWGP U.S. Championship and the heavyweight title match, they were brutal. Both matches, both of the men in the matches were brutal to each other. Shocking turning of events that happened at the end of the show that I didn't quite understand, but I'll get into that with you guys. If you have seen the event, you know what I'm talking about. If you have not, I would recommend seeing it. It was a really good show. But let's get into the matches. I'll go over a little bit here and there from what I remember. It was a very long show. It was over 4 hours. Fucking WrestleMania type shit. So, first match on the card was a 10-man tag team match. I mean, it was an okay match. It was nothing major, but it was at least a 3 out of 5 stars. Bullet Club, King Haku, a former WCW wrestler most of his career, with Tameya Tonga and Tanga Lua, Yujiro Takahashi, and Chase Owens. They defeated the Chaos that consists of Yoshihashi, Jito, Rocky Romero, and Yo and Sho. So, I mean, that match was pretty good. Good action overall. The match went over 9 minutes. And that's pretty much what we got out of that. Then we got another tag team match. That was Tomohiro Ashi and Toru Yano defeating Suzuki Gun with Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. Tomohiro and Toru Yano actually defeated Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. This was very good technician wrestling. One person on Chaos, Toru Yano, he actually was better this time around than the last match he was in that I saw him in, which was at the Dominion event in June of last month. And I have to give it to him. He actually performed very well. He wasn't so much of a goofball. He did do a little bit of goofing off with Zack Sabre, but that seems to happen because he's scared shitless of Zack Sabre one-on-one, especially the fact that he puts him in a bunch of submission holds. Zack Sabre is a very good technician wrestler. I think if he ever faced Kurt Angle in a technician wrestling match, or Bret Hart if he was ever able to do that, he would have a 5-star classic with those two guys. But this match was pretty good. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Tomohiro Ashi was actually getting constantly hit by Zack Sabre and Suzuki back and forth. They really didn't want him in the ring because he was actually the strongest guy out of the two. But at the end of the day, Yano actually picks up the victory for his team. So, not bad match. I like the tag team match that happened here, so I wasn't too disappointed in this matchup. We then get the Bullet Club with Hangman Page and Marty Scurll defeating Hiroshio, Tanahashi, and Kushida. This match was good as well. I have no complaints with this match. This match was back and forth action from beginning to end. And Hangman Page and Marty Scurll pick up the victory. I really like Marty Scurll. Very good talent. Plays a villain type character very good. Honestly, I'll be straight up honest with you. I really think Marty Scurll would go very well if WWE picked him up to be in the UK NXT roster. Especially becoming the WWE United Kingdom champion. I think that would be an outstanding, way of introducing him into WWE if they ever signed him on to perform in that company. And him and Pete Dunne, I think, would probably have a 5-star fucking classic. Hands down. I don't think those two guys would have a bad match whatsoever if you put them together. So that hands down alone would be fantastic if we ever got an opportunity to see that. Now, side note that as I was scrolling through to see the pick a website to get the results on the card and everything, Hiroshi Tanahashi actually got a major injury. He was rushed to the hospital with a broken ankle. I didn't know that. Which I didn't notice anything was going on there at the end of the matchup, but unfortunately, Hiroshi Tanahashi got an ankle injury. So, I don't know. Tanahashi's been in New Japan Wrestling for a long time. He's a veteran. He's basically like a John Cena, Undertaker type character. He's been with the company for a very, very long time. He's had, I think, almost over 10 title reigns, maybe. I'm not sure. My stats might be incorrect because I'm not too familiar with every guy on the roster, but he has been there for quite some time. He's had quite a few title reigns. He's been an unbelievable performer for that company. Does maneuvers like Eddie Guerrero. He has the characteristic of a John Cena, and he's just unbelievable. But he's constantly always sustaining an injury. He's become very injury prone. So that's a bit of a problem for him. It's making his career kind of stop and go, taking away his ability to continue to do what he does best, and that's wrestle in the ring. This matchup, I would say, with Hangman Page and Marty Scurll, I'd have to say this match was a 3.5 out of 5 stars as well. Next match after that was Hirooki Goto defending his Never Openweight Championship against Jeff Cobb. This man is the guy that challenged Hirooki Goto for his Never Openweight Championship after Hirooki Goto got back the title from Michael Elgin, who defeated him for the title, and he won it right back from him immediately after Michael Elgin gave him his rematch. So Michael Elgin was a transitional champion with that belt, unfortunately, so not too much luck for him on that. The in-ring matchup was pretty decent. I mean, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Nothing to scream home about, but it was a decent match nonetheless. Then we had the Young Bucks, IWGP Tag Team titles, defeating Los Ingobernables de Japan. Sonata and Evil, they had another great tag team matchup. This rematch for the title was for the tag team titles were actually probably better than their original matchup, which the Young Bucks won. Overall, this was very close falls after close falls each and every time. these guys were beating the hell out of each other, and a very, very good tag team match. Something that WWE should take notes of and maybe actually apply to their show every once in a while to give us some good tag team action, especially for tag team title matches on their pay-per-views. Just a thought. But this isn't all about WWE. This is about New Japan Wrestling. I love wrestling, as you guys have already known. If you guys have not seen my video, Why I Love Wrestling, you'll hear it and what have you. This is my drug. This is what I love to talk about. This is what I watch. Call me a guy that doesn't have a life, but I'll tell you what, the people I've met around in St. Petersburg, Florida are a bunch of fucking douchebags, and so on and so forth. Not to mention people generally in Florida I don't particularly like. Trying to move the fuck out of here very soon at some point and get myself into the wrestling business of some sort. Maybe not making millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it would be nice to be able to do something that doesn't involve being on a telemarketing phone. So, just giving you a little insight on myself if you don't know too much about me and you're just seeing this video. And this is the first video you're watching on my channel. But, yeah, this is pretty much what I love. I love professional wrestling. This is what I crave for on a day-to-day basis. Without wrestling, I am like a person that hasn't had his crack yet. But, yeah, the Young Bucks, going against Sonata and Evil, very good matchup. Good in-ring work by both teams. And this match was a 4 out of 5 stars. Guaranteed. Very good matchup by both of these guys. Or both teams, I should say. Now we reach the second half of the show, and we get into another tag team match. Boy, oh boy. A lot of tag team matchups with New Japan Wrestling. That's the one thing I'm not too fond of, having every match being a tag team matchup and whatnot. I kind of like the idea of, having rivalry matches where it's one-on-one and so forth. I mean, I think that is actually rather good and entertaining. They did that with Cody Rhodes and Kota Ibushi back in New Japan, but or not in Wrestle Kingdom earlier this year. But that's about the only thing I ever see them really do, unless it's a singles championship match. They don't exactly do single matches one-on-one, which you kind of hope they start doing at some point. Because the tag team matches, to me, I mean, it's good, but it's not as good as their one-on-one matches that they put on in these events. If you don't believe me, just watch them and you'd be very impressed of how well these single matches are compared to their tag team matches. I'm not saying their tag team match action isn't good. I'm just saying that the fact is that they should do more single matches than tag team matches, giving these guys opportunity to actually work in the ring together by themselves and get more in-ring time. But I think they maybe do that for a specific reason, I guess for safety reasons, to allow these guys to perform more high-risk maneuvers at certain points when they're put in single matches, which would make sense, I guess. But other than that, I really think that if they really wanted to, they possibly may want to consider cutting down on some of the one-on-one matches. Because I'll give you a prime example. Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes went over 34 minutes. It went 34 minutes and 14 seconds. So that's a lot of time putting in for one match, and I'll definitely give you guys the description of what happened in that matchup when I get to that point. I'm almost there, though. And same thing goes with Juice Robinson and Jay White. That was a very, very brutal matchup by those two, one-on-one. But we get to the next tag team matchup after the IWGP Championship, and it was Okada with Will Ospreay against Naito and Bushi. This matchup was pretty decent. I mean, Okada and Naito have a rivalry that goes a long way back, several years ago. So this kind of made this match very interesting to watch, seeing what other more damage they could do to each other. Will Ospreay was very impressive without doing any high-risk maneuvers as much as he normally does, which was a good idea by New Japan to do that and set him up in a situation where he didn't have to kill himself. Because practically throughout his IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship run, he was killing himself. I mean, literally, he was going back to back to back to back to back to back to back championship title defenses and just killing himself beyond imagination. And this matchup, he really needed a break, tone down on the in-ring work that he did, and putting him in a tag team match was actually probably the smartest thing for them to do in this situation, based on what he has done over the course of the last since January, actually, since the Wrestling Kingdom event. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy that they made that decision to go that route and not make him do such high-risk maneuvers, or allow him to do that, actually, I should say. But overall, the whole entire matchup, again, very good. Nothing to be ashamed of. Good in-ring work. 4 out of 5 stars, once again. I mean, I can't say anything more to this matchup. This matchup was unreal. Then we have the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Takahashi actually defended his championship against Dragon Lee. He retained the title. Actually, I think Takahashi was the man who had the ankle injury, not Tanahashi. I think it's Takahashi. Yeah, their names are very similar, the way they're spelt, so I think I might have just glanced at it and I might have made a mistake there. I do apologize. I think it was the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion who actually walked away with an ankle injury, not Tanahashi. Though Takahashi really did a good job in this matchup. He retained his title. Dragon Lee, he was unbelievable, doing a lot of high maneuvers, as well as Takahashi. I mean, very good standard junior heavyweight championship match. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I mean, there ain't nothing to say on this one. Again, like I've been saying, these guys are performing at a very high level. If you look at their scheduling and how they're scheduled and booked, they're booked the right way. They're not given day-to-day matches like WWE does, or even New Japan for that matter. Not New Japan, Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor, they got these guys doing all kinds of fucking shit. And, I mean, their matches sometimes are slow and they're boring. You take a look at New Japan, every freaking matchup they have is high octane explosiveness and high tempo matches. I think a lot of that has to do with how they're scheduled. I think if they're scheduled the proper way, give them time to relax and rest from their in-ring work that they do. I mean, Kenny Omega didn't do jack shit since he won the title. He did press conferences to help promote the match that he was having with Cody Rhodes. They did some promo video work as well. Same thing with Jay White. Jay White didn't really do anything. I think he maybe had 1 or 2 matches before this event. And they were just standard matches, nothing to go crazy over. And he didn't do anything major in any of those matches. And that's it. I mean, I think that how New Japan Wrestling does their scheduling is a very smart and intelligent way to help keep their wrestlers in good condition, as well as allow them to be able to put on very high explosive matchups. by doing that, it helps them lower down the risk and probability of injury. They also get to relax and rest from their injuries that they may have sustained, or possible bruise or pain or, soreness that they've received from these matches. And that is the intelligent way to go. That is something that probably other wrestling promotions should do, but probably don't. So that's kind of on them, I guess. The next match was Jay White and Juice Robinson for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship. My God, this was definitely a fucking vicious match. I mean, these guys were tearing each other apart outside the ring. At one point, Josh Burnett, a former UFC heavyweight champion and UFC fighter, got really pissed off at one point that they kept screwing around by where the announcer table is, and they accidentally, Jay White, by throwing Juice Robinson in front of the announcer's table, accidentally knocked JR on his ass and moved the entire announcer's table backwards, hitting him and knocking him down. Josh Burnett really got upset with this whole situation. He chased after Jay White throughout the entire match. Well, not through the entire matchup, but chased after him for about 2 to 3 minutes, trying to get a hold of him, but Jay White kept running away. A lot of cussing going on during this matchup. A lot of upset people at Jay White. There was a lot of shit going on during this matchup. Most of it taking place outside the ring. These guys really hurt each other badly. Jay White was unbelievable in this matchup, playing the evil villain very well. He was kind of reminding me of Tommaso Ciampa almost. But at the end of the day, I was very, very satisfied with this match. Though Juice Robinson picked up the Cinderella story victory over Jay White. Jay White was trying to hit the Blade Runner on Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson managed to counter and roll him up in a simplistic pin, a schoolboy pin, and get the victory. When have we ever seen that in professional wrestling? I haven't seen it in a very, very long, long time. And I mean a fucking long time. So, honestly, very good matchup. Very intelligent way to end the matchup altogether. That was a very shocking ending way to pick up the victory for Juice Robinson. Juice Robinson, do I see him as staying champion for a very long time? I don't think so. I think Juice Robinson will lose the championship back to Jay White. I think it was a fluke victory. I think that was the whole point. It was to help give Juice Robinson finally an opportunity to hold on to a title. He finally got that. I think he's going to lose to Jay White this time around. I don't think Jay White's going to stay on a losing streak. He is honestly a guy that I could picture eventually getting a shot for the IWGP Heavyweight title. So, for them to make him on a losing streak at this point, with all the good in-ring work that he's produced for this company, would be very, very disappointing in my opinion. But at the end of the day, was this a good match? Was this a good ending? Yes, it was. It was a very good ending. I was very happy and satisfied with the situation that happened, and I can't wait to see these two go at it again, because truthfully, the way this match was, it could have been a main event matchup if you didn't have the heavyweight championship match on the show. So, quite frankly, this match was well worth its time and place where it was, and it could have been the main event without the heavyweight championship match being there in the first place. But, now getting to the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. This was a brutal matchup. There is no doubt about it. These guys beat the hell out of each other. Cody Rhodes looked legitimately hurt, as well as Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega finally walked away, retaining the championship after the fight went about 34 minutes and 14 seconds. These guys did everything. They had chairs, they had ladders, they had tables. They might as well should have had the fucking championship belt hanging high above the ring and call it a TLC match, for God's sakes. These guys did everything against each other. One spot we get to see Cody Rhodes do a suplex off of a 20-foot ladder and landing him outside the ring. Kenny Omega is trying to get him on the outside, landing him onto a table. And these guys are saying throughout the promo video that they have no beef with each other. Kenny Omega wants to prove that he is the guy. He is the man that's the leader of the Bullet Club. He's the guy that's the champion. That's why he's holding on to the belt. And he has no hard feelings towards Cody Rhodes anymore. And Cody Rhodes is saying, I believe that everybody on this roster should look at each other as a number one. That they should all try to push themselves to overcome each other in their own faction. And try to prove who's the better man. Who's the better member of the Bullet Club. So his attitude is, let's not be lackeys to another guy running the group. Let's try to do better ourselves and go beyond what we are in the group. And I think that's pretty cool. Very interesting storyline telling that they did in this. Very different, very unique. Not very oftenly, to me, that's not something that's very common to see in a wrestling promotion, to have a storyline like that. Usually what Cody Rhodes is doing is something that maybe The Rock did with the Nation of Domination. Come in, be a member, destroy it, and try to become the leader in the process, but then at the end of the day, destroy the entire faction of what it was. Cody Rhodes was trying to promote the idea to be the absolute best that you can be within the group without being someone else's lackey, including himself. So he was looking as, to me, like a Hollywood Hulk Hogan type ripoff, but then at the end of the day, when you hear what he was saying to the rest of the group, it was totally different. Kenny Omega's attitude was, whoever's putting on the best matches, has the biggest title in the group, are considered to be the leader of the group, which makes logical sense if you look at it. But Cody Rhodes tried his damnedest to prove that he was the absolute best out of the bunch. And man, did he fucking prove it. He went through hell, and he tried his damnedest to rip that fucking belt out of Kenny Omega's hands, but just could not do it. Kenny Omega and him tore each other apart. Right away, the table was destroyed with a flying stomp through the chest of Cody Rhodes. That already started things off. Then Kenny Omega whips out a fucking another table underneath the ring, puts it, sets it up, and then wants to go ahead and do a maneuver off the fucking ladder. While Cody's laying on top of it, couldn't do that because he moved out of the way finally. And he eventually then power bombs him, throwing him from inside the ring to the outside of the ring onto the table. The table doesn't even break. The bottom leg part actually fucking splits and bends, and the table doesn't even break at all, leaving Cody to hit the freaking ground after he hits the table without it breaking, which was fucking unreal. But once we got to the end of this matchup, we finally see Cody Rhodes. He walks away the victim of the loss. Kenny Omega gets his first title defense victory, and he went out in grand fashion. I give this match a 5 out of 5 stars. It was definitely well worth everybody's time. If you did not see this, you have got to see this entire event. This event was 4 fucking hours, and it was worth every minute of it. Like as I stated for Dominion, this is no different. This was fantastic wrestling from bell to bell. The entire thing was great. I enjoyed it from the beginning to the end of the show, and I'll be quite frank with you guys. I'm very happy to do these reviews for you guys. I find a lot of value out of it. And also a side note, after the match ended, Kenny Omega says, look, we got to give each other a second chance. They give another, a curveball in this whole storyline. Kenny Omega says, look, it's time for forgiveness. You got to forgive each other. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all do things that might not be kosher and the right thing to do sometimes because we might become greedy in certain aspects. But at the end of the day, let's always give each other a chance and forgive one another for our mishaps or our mistakes that we made, that we did to somebody else. Which I agree with, but once you give somebody a second chance and they fuck you over again, then you really shouldn't be giving them any kind of second chances whatsoever. Because then they ain't second chances, they're third, fourth, and fifth chances, which is fucking insane. But at the end of the day, Cody Rhodes came down to the ring. He shook... well, actually, no, he didn't shake his hand. He actually went backstage, but then the Tonga group, the Samoans, so the Samoan tag team that they had in their group, turned on every one of the members of Bullet Club, calling them the Fire Squad. I don't understand what the hell the point was about that, but it was very odd at the very least. What would I say about this? Well, they destroyed Cody. They destroyed Marty Scurll, Hangman Page, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the whole entire crew. And then Cody Rhodes comes down, and one of the Samoan brothers give him a chair to swipe it at Kenny Omega, and he looks like he's about ready to do it, and then he takes it and hammers one of the Tonga brothers into the gut, and they practically destroy him as well. They announce up towards the stage an entrance apron that they're the new Bullet Club, they're the real Bullet Club, and they're real family, and the rest of them are all a bunch of fucking jokes. And that's pretty much the situation. At the end, when they left Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega, they got back up after recovering from the attack that they sustained, and all the Bullet Club members shook hands. Cody Rhodes shook his hand, raised his hand up in victory, and they gave a hug to everybody. Came in for a group hug, and the show closed out. So we have a very interesting situation. A tag team within the Bullet Club are no more part of the Bullet Club, announcing that they're a different form of the Bullet Club, basically being a NWO. So we got the NWO kind of situation going on within the Bullet Club itself. Only with this situation, what you would have thought would have been Cody Rhodes and Kenny Omega splitting the Bullet Club up, making two different factions. We get a complete shocker in the situation, with somebody else doing that for them, and it's only their father and the two brothers going together as a tag team with a different form of the Bullet Club itself. So you try to figure that one out and get back to me on that. I'm going to try to keep track on what's going on with the storyline, because it's very interesting to me. But anyway, guys, if you liked the video, hit the like button if you liked it, and leave your comments and opinions down below as well. If you have anything you like to say about this event that you saw, please let me know what you guys thought of it. Any ideas or thoughts that you think made the show really great, what you liked most about it, or something like that. You're more than welcome to state all those opinions. I'll get back to you on those comments as well, and hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to the channel. And I thank you guys very much for watching, and good night. Bang.